So I'm back to another episode of the Made In project. So same track list. This is Made In Ohafia, and the first track list I have here is Reckless. So for me, I won't say the recklessness will come from Ohafia. So let me give you this sub story. My elder brother went to a school which much more had like an experience of what I would later experience in Ohafia, and I was in a private school where stuff were much more different. We had gardeners. There was nothing like Labor Day. It was just a whole different experience. So for me, the way it used to like be in my head is that the private school I went to do my junior secondary was heaven, and the senior secondary school I completed while I was in Ohafia was like hell. So it felt like my elder brother experienced hell before heaven, because he did his own in his junior classes, and when he went to senior secondary, it was much more cooler, because it was a private school and there were no much of all those stuff. So me, I went from the amazing private school I was in to Ohafia. So I went to Federal Government College Ohafia, which is my alma mater. So although differences might have contributed to that, eating habits, limitations with certain things. Like the previous school I went to, there was no provision, you could not hold cash, and stuff like that. And I was not one to eat like growing up as a child. I used to look at food as work. But it has pretty much changed. I don't go again. So that's pretty much it for reckless. I would say probably my eating pattern. My parents have seen that, oh, my eating pattern probably it's not healthy for me or something like that. They had their reasons why they said I was going to move, and I moved. I moved to Ohafia, So that's it for me for reckless. Then second track on my list is Ginger featuring Famous. So my day one in Ohafia was I don't know how to describe it, but if I can remember, our school uniform is white long sleeve t-shirt and maroon trousers, but I came in white and white. You understand? I sent to be now. I came in white and white, so my mom was to get me my maroon later on. And the day, because I can't forget, the day I came into school was Labor Day. It was on a Wednesday. Wednesdays are for labor, so that was when I went to. That was when I went to. That was the day I resumed. So my first welcome into school was K, because the previous school I was coming from, there was no. I'm not sure if I spent about 2 years, which is about I think six terms, 30 terms, 6 terms in the school I was coming from, and I think I got flogged only maybe like twice within that period. This was my D1, and it was crazy, because the person who was my school father, that was assigned to be my school father, on the very first day, he was washing clothes at the pavement, and he said, I saw people running. I could not understand why they were running. Maybe was something on fire. I don't know which state or word I used to describe what I was feeling, but I couldn't understand why people were just running helter skelter. So my school father went in to get hanger and was like, "Oh, Williams, stay outside. Nobody will touch you." Me, I did not understand what was happening now. Only for me to see one hefty dude that is very, very tall. He's both taller than me and my school father. He's like, when I'm telling you, he's tall. So I later found out that was our deputy head boy, Abuba. Abuba is huge. Abuba was approaching me with belt. I could not understand. And me, my supervisor said I should stay now. What will you have me do? I stayed. Next thing, belt touched my back. I did not know when tears started rolling. I don't know when tears started rolling. I was trying to grasp what was happening, you know. And went for labor and they addressed us, stuff like that. It was the first time I was picking up what's the machete because I could not understand. I'm coming from somewhere that has a gardener doing, showing our flowers look nice. I'm being handed machete. Am I a prisoner? I had blisters on my hand because that was like the first time I was doing actual labor work. Only for dinner to come. Dinner now came. The school I went to is normal, you dish your food, everybody go, the queue is going fine, nobody wants to lobby anybody, I get into the dining hall. I could not understand why people were not seated. Everybody was sort of scrambling for food. And I was like, I could not get it. Like my brain was trying to process what was happening, that was when I realized that you are damned, Tears just started rolling from my eyes. And I was just my classmate, he's in Purple House, he's famous. So famous came to me, I was like, William, sitting the apple now. Why you dey cry now? Well, no worry, I'll go hustle food for you. So it was noodles they served us. So famous got me down noodles, but man, I just knew that the next 2 to 3 years was going to be hell in that place. Tears rolled down my eyes and it paid me shower. It paid me, but pretty much that was my ginger story. Famous sort of was there to tell me that we got your back, it's all good, because I felt like maybe they have been to similar, like somewhere that is similar to the experience in Ohafia, so it was pretty much not like a new thing to them. So and that wraps up my ginger story. So the next track on my list is Long Time featuring Joshua. So who is Joshua to me? Joshua is a long time friend. Joshua is a brother. Joshua is family. So I've known Joshua since 2013 up until now, which is probably like 13 years, So Joshua happened to be, he's my classmate. We pretty much got into SS1 at the same time. He had his own school father, I had my own school father. His father was somebody we call Orobo. His school father's name was Duba. So some of our classmates later changed it to Orobo Dubik. So they started calling him Dubik. So I think Dubik Malls was one of the malls that was running in Abia State at the time. I think before Peter Malt. And Grandma has already had the time. So Dubik Malls was doing it. So we were calling him Orobo Dubik. Then his corner was like opposite mine, Then, our friendship grew, we go to class early, we showered early, we just did things pretty much together, and that's formed like the genesis of our bond. Then senior secondary school, we became corner mates, and after that, Jam did this thing. I spent how many years I spent to get into school, and I think he had similar issue, but I think he got into school earlier than me, but he studied a 5 years course and I studied a 4 years course, so we pretty much graduated together. And I think Joshua was the person who first brought mini importation to my attention. So I think he brought it up. Then I went ahead to have a conversation with Irem, which was the person he had it from, and time went by. I did my research. I can remember the day we were graduating. I wrote down all my research findings. I I duplicated the exact. I wrote everything like I duplicated and I gave him a piece. I don't know if he still has this piece. So probably if he sees this video, he will probably comment if he has it. And you know, I've been to his place like twice while we were still schooling. You know, he's a twin per se. He's a Jima. So that's pretty much my long time story in Ohafia. At that moment I shared with Joshua. So the second track on my list will be Mighty Wine. So Mighty Wine will pretty much be similar to the same stuff I gave in Made in Onitsha. So still the same thing around, you know, the culture of like secondary school jokes or games. I don't even know what I'll call it, but it's like teen seniors like play around it. So Journey of No Return um is what a senior can use to like frustrate you or deal with you, you know, without touching you. So how it goes is, I you tell a particular junior student to go and tell another senior student that they should give you that senior student should give you your his the book he collected from you, which is called Journey of No Return. So once he says that to that senior, they understand that, oh, this person is going to spend a whole lot of time. He ain't sleeping anytime soon. So they tell you to go to another senior. So it's like a chain effect stuff. So that junior student just keeps going to tell another senior that tells him to go to another senior. And when one senior just has compassion, he will just be like, boy, go and sleep. You know. So that's pretty much it for my Mighty Wine story. But there are still other things like I would like to say which are probably might not be related to Mighty Wine, but will give me the room to like, you know, say them. I feel like, you know, after I got into filmmaking, I feel like we have so many untapped secondary school stories that if they are brought on a grand scale, it's not just going to build like, and it's not just going to make like the existing alumni network of any secondary school at all connect, but I think it will have unique stories that people can actually be like, oh, this character is me, you know. And it just puts like it just sort of will put us on the map globally, where like we have stories even people in diaspora will sort of connect it, because you have people who probably schooled in most of these schools and they are no longer in Nigeria, you know. I think the only secondary school story that probably has been done will be the Madam Koi Koi story, of which is hearsay. If you schooled between when I schooled, I don't think you hear a Madam Koi Koi story. Do you understand? Or a Bush Baby story. But there are things that I feel like if I want to make a movie on, I would make a movie on. For instance, we had this culture of red nights, you know. So red night is that stuff where you don't get to sleep. You don't get to sleep a day before we vacate. So you're supposed to be awake till you vacate. So you probably, when you're in the bus, you have your sleep and that's it. One of the red sides, I almost lost my life. I almost lost my life. So so the way the red night works is we used to do it because I was a red house boy. We used to do it in like red house. But red night is a culture. So but we were the ones that were sort of piloting it every time we were vacating. So it became a culture thing for us that we must do red night. Other houses later joined. We had like blue house join. We had like purple house and green house. Even yellow house. We had other houses join. But I think at the time the war was between red house and blue house. So at different times, you know, I got my fair share of beating. So you're not supposed to sleep. So I would sleep. There was one particular vacation. I lost my my big toe, the nail had to go out because I don't, only God knows what they used to hit me, and my toe went out. So that was one of my red night experience. And the funny thing is, me, I stayed in, there's main house and there's extension. So I was in the extension of my hostel. And with with the way the red night works is like it's everybody that is awake. So you can imagine 20 to 25 persons hitting you all at once. You know, your brain will just the way your brain will processing that data, you will, yeah, something that's the way they will say it, you will jump up, you will jump up quickly. So, but my red night experience that, you know, I can never forget was one of the red nights I decided to be creative. So there was this platform that had a GP tank. It's very tall. Like the platform is like very very tall. Then there's a GP tank on this, so you can imagine the height. So I told a junior student to, you know, get me carry my phone, bring it for me. So what I did was, because that tank was empty, what I did was I put that bed, so like, you know, like it's, oh, the top is open, so I put the bed, so like it's like it's like laid, so that was where I slept. So I felt like, oh, nobody figured out where I was. You know, I was like, you can, like, it's literally giving this feeling like, you know, lying down on the grass and looking at the moon in an open field. You know, I was very very high on top of that GP tank, and I was just looking at the moon. You know, I was sleeping. Only for me, I don't know what time was that. I was just hearing, bah, bah, bah. People were just hitting me. Like I felt like that tank was about to, you know, sort of fall. And I had Kenneth, who we call Kendo. So Kendo was like, "Guy, will you get up, go away, choke this boy more." You understand? So he, what he meant, like that, like the Jupiter was going to fall, that do they want to kill me or stuff like that, you know. And I had my own fair share of beating that night. Sleep vanished from my heart after that beating. But I got to, I when I made my findings, I knew the person who snitched on me was Shaba, who snitched on me. So Saba was able to figure out this junior student who brought my phone, and that was the junior student that leaked the information. And I was them that night. These were playing with my life. But that's pretty much it for the Mighty Wine story. I think this is like a message to all filmmakers. We should begin to, you know, look for authentic stories. There are authentic stories everywhere. Like when I'm saying authentic stories, like true life stories that people can, you know, connect with. I always, just like you have on my socials, on my bios or covers, there's this word I say, life is a movie, all characters on set. So a lot of stories. I would love to tell the story of my dad, you know, from my own lens. I would love to tell the story of my mom from my own lens. I would like to do a documentary, you know, on my siblings, on my family, you know. I feel like there are so many authentic stories that we should begin to, you know, tell. And that's pretty much it for my Mighty Wine story. So the next um the next track list I have is Blessed. So for Blessed, I would say, okay, for Blessed is featuring Marco. So Senior Marco is became my let's say became my school father or head of my corner. I don't know what the arrangement was like, but Sinma was the eldest senior in the corner as of the time. So just like his name is Emma, so we call him Senior Emma, but at times, you know, you call him Cinema. You know, that is if he's on his good mood and he just wants to play around the team. So Senior Marco was that senior, you know, okay, if you're gonna also enter our sports, someone now, you get. So Senior Marco was fast. during inter sports, he was always giving his best for Red House team, and he was pretty much he was pretty much our corner head, and he he was a prefect. I think he was hostel prefect. Yes, he was the, I don't know whether it's main or assistant, but I know he had like a position, so he's like a prefect. So I think I enjoyed all the privileges that came with, being in his corner. If you call one boy, we had immunity. Anything you did at all, we had immunity. If you were chasing for level, we had immunity. If you were chasing for if you were chasing for early morning jogging, we had immunity. If they were calling for mass flogging, we had immunity. There were just a whole lot of privileges that, you know, being with the cinema was. Although there were times where, senior man will have to be senior man, and your bonbon had just have to take the flogging. So I would say pretty much that would be my blessed story. So that would be it. That would be it. I don't know where senior man is. He might have jumped out of the country. I don't know. But if he sees this video, I would love for him to just comment. So the next track on my list will be Smile. So for Smile will be for Smile it will be for Smile it will be that it will be the extra box I practically was making in school. So while while I was still in school, my guardian, I had two guardians. I had I've forgotten. I had Uncle Charles, and I had um Lady. I had Lady as my guardian. So Lady had a busy schedule, so that made me not sort of collect pocket money often. So I sort of had cash. So the times where I will have to collect collect cash will be anytime she's around. And if I'm going to collect cash, I'll collect the one that will sort of like sustain, because I don't know when next I'm going to see her. So I would say I probably made like extra bucks from probably loaning people money. So you want to probably go home to do something. You're looking for transport. You're looking for transport and stuff. I can loan you the money. If you're coming, you just you bring back percentage if you're coming back. So anytime I was vacating, I had extra cash in my hand. But the crazy thing there, that's my smile story. Me making extra cash with loaning money out to people who wanted to go home or vacate or something. But I shall get the returns on my actual money when you're back for whatever event you went for. But I want to say something, that we could see technology evolve firsthand, because now if you want to go out, you're not even thinking, there's no coordination to thinking, oh, I need cash. If you go out, you probably see like 5 or 10 POS people anywhere you're headed towards. But the crazy thing is that of 2014, 15 or 13, parents will waybill cash from In Ohafia to Ohafia and still pay cash to deliver cash. But now, just one transaction and money is in your account. I pretty much say technology has tried for us, and we should be grateful. But I think that we should begin to like build better technologies, to accommodate certain environments. Because I thought of this thing late last year, that I feel like there should be that sort of balance between the advantages students, boarders have, and day students have. So for instance, a day student currently now, you're not just, as a brother, you're not competing with just, not just the experience of the opportunities they have to use the internet in the house, is that they have AI in their hands that they can use to make the assignments. Meanwhile, you probably might have limited resources. But I knew before I graduated, Xenox had like a student knowledge center where you could actually go. But the student knowledge center as of the time, how many students does it want to accommodate? Even if you say let you create a calendar that every student can come into that place 3 or 4 times in a term, how many people is it going to accommodate? We had the e-library. I don't know how functional it is now, but as of the time I was there, it was not as functional as it would be. But I hope it's functional now. There is internet access and people can go and use it. So that's it for my smile story. So the next track list to be Piece of Me. So for Piece of Me, I would say pretty much Ohafia laid the foundation for different things for me. I got to see different people from different backgrounds. People who are just good, people who are bad. People who just got into stuff. I was not one to break the law while I was in school. I was not one to break the law while I was in school. We had this culture of leaving school. I spent 3 years in that school. I never left that school for one day. If today now you put the price that I should show you the route to where people used to leave school, I will get lost because I don't even know what it looks like. But the Ohafia pretty much shaped that for me. At least I cannot forget the conversations with Irem. Irem was in Yellow House, so that information he shared alone sort of gave me an edge when I left, secondary school, and pretty much my first entry to making money on my own. I think the guidance I had, they were amazing. Lady would always caution me when she needed to caution me. Uncle Charles was always there, to check up on me. At times he would send my classmates to call me and to know how I'm doing and stuff like that. And I would say I had amazing teachers. I cannot forget Mr. Yenriche. I cannot forget Mr. Josiah, CBN. I've forgotten our biology teacher's name. I had amazing teachers. I would say Ohafia laid the foundation for me, as a good student. I remember there was one experience I will never forget. I don't know, there was this stuff that was trending at the time. So if you wrote WAEC, anytime you wrote WAEC, you would have come across platforms who probably will give answers to most of the exam questions. So people delayed entering the hall. So if those questions drop, they find their way to get the answers, and they get to write the exams. So I don't know what made my guardian feel like I was part of the people who were doing those things. And she called my dad. And my dad got on the phone with me. Told me, do you want to waste your life? Do you want to waste your life? See, if you are caught doing exam malpractice, you will go in for it. You will go in for it. That day was crazy. And the funny thing was, I will not play party to that. It doesn't mean like I'm sent to be. I'm not sent to be. But I didn't do exam malpractice per se in the sense of exam malpractice. I think during my work I came late like twice. I cannot forget the WAEC. There was this particular subject we wrote, so I came late. I wanted to run and enter the line of people who they went to clarify their school fees issue. So it will look like, you guys were just coming back. And I don't know, one teacher just spotted me, hey, you come. They whipped me, like, that was the first time I chested cane. I collected like 6 strokes or more from Mr. Yenichia. I don't know, but I think it's Mr. Yenichia because his strokes are not here. Like, those boys are not nice. As they were done flogging me, I was actually in the hall. I was just saying, oh, Willie, Kuchiri, Willie. And stuff like that can make you break. But I sat down on my seat. It took me 3 minutes to, reboot and realize that there is paper in my front for me to actually start writing the exams. That cane was Buddha. That cane can make you forget all you read. But that is pretty much my piece of my story. So for the next track is No Stress. So for No Stress, I would say I pretty much didn't stress myself in school. I did what I could do and I left the rest. But do I feel like I would have done more? Yeah, pretty much. But you only live once. You get I wouldn't say I stressed myself at different times. I was just that student. I won't say I have pretty much to say on No Stress. But let's get on to the next track. So the next track is True Love. True Love. I won't say I had a love story because like I was so detached. I was so detached when I was in secondary school. I won't say I have a true love story. I was so detached. I rarely talked to girls while I was in school. Although they were the ones that will come around, but I don't think I pretty much gave anybody audience. But they are the ones you just see and But there was no sort of that kind of thing was not there. Okay, books to read. The other has books to read. Although the period a bit the era when me and Joshua used to go to class early. I think girls used to come on time. They used to come on time. So if they come to class that time, they'll see me and Joshua and they'll be like, who are these boys? They'll come to the class, they'll be making their noise and stuff like that. But yeah, we didn't have time. Even though they are doing side talks or referring to us, okay, they're going to focus now. Go. And that was pretty much it. That's pretty much it for my true love story. There was no love anywhere. So the next track is Sweet One. So for Sweet One, as I know I have a true love story now, it doesn't mean I didn't have somebody I crushed on. So the crush did not even start in SS1 or SS2, it was in SS3. There was this tall lady, tall girl. Her mother was the head nurse in the school. She worked at the clinic. Her name is Adatisi. I don't know, I just started crushing on Adatisi. I didn't even know how it started, but I knew that anytime like I saw her, there was this, this kind of sharp cut in your heart when you see somebody like it was like a repetitive thing anytime I saw her. So, and the thing is that I didn't even have the courage to even talk to her. Funny thing is that she was not even in my class. I think she was in D class and me I was in B class. So, and we had different arms and everybody had their own individual classes. We were not together. The only time I sort of spoke to her would be okay, fair. The only time I spoke to Ada was this particular day. I just summed up the courage that I was going to go and talk to her. As I got to her front now, I asked her for her biology notes. She said she was not with her biology note, that she was going to come with it so day. That she come with it that she was going to come with it that day, so I should come and check up on it that day. That was the only time I had to talk to her that, and I fumbled like that. That one sort of died there. I got her number after we graduated, but conversation no flash. Okay, has to move on. So that is pretty much my sweet one story. So the next track on my list will be Essence. So for Essence will be, for my Essence story, I really want to talk about a particular experience we had with one of our principals. I don't know why people would be that difficult. So this principal was at the time, Okengu was our principal. That man's era in school was like the way you hear about the Sani Abacha regime that we didn't experience. We just heard about Sani Abacha. It was like Sani Abacha. This man came in. This man caught calls like, this man led a coup in Nigeria. You will be a very good military man. This guy came in, cut all calls. You could not call anybody from home. If you were caught calling from home, you'll be in deep shit. So, cut all the calls. The pattern of dishing out food changed. They had to buy individual coolers for tables. Food portions dropped. Quality of food dropped. He was even telling us something that it was the first principal to buy a fridge. That was not of concern to us because you bought fridge but we were eating soured meat. That time if a senior student told you should bring your meat, you won't even be like, senior, please go and give him his soured meat. You shall soured meat after you calm down. So that experience was, I don't know, it was bad. It was bad, and I would say that sort of leadership wasn't something we should have experienced at that tender age, because people will sort of grow older to believe they can act with in such manner, and not have regard for certain things. But I feel like we still had teachers who sort of talked to us, spoke to us when necessary, or even called out what the man was doing to put some people's head in check, so people will not believe that that's how things are supposed to be. And that's pretty much for my Essence story. So for Roma, he made in Onitsha. I didn't say anything on Roma because the only thing that comes to my head when I heard that word Roma is Roma, the club in Italy which plays football. So I would say my Roma story will still be on sports betting. Just like I said that I didn't do anything on sports betting in Onitsha. I'm still going to reference it to a sports betting story. Which sort of, was the foundation to how I later did sports betting later on. But that will come in I don't know which maiden project that will come in, because that won't happen in May. There's no sports betting story made in Lagos. So that's pretty much. So for the Roma story, there was this period where we had to sort of vacate school. So they sent us home. They sent us as students home. Told us when to come back. Sent us home again, and there was this period where that was one of the periods they said we should go home, and I literally didn't really have cash for me, because my dad was like, why are they sending you guys to go home? I was trying to explain that it's general. It's not based off like probably like an individual thing, or probably you were suspended or stuff like that. But there was this impromptu um, chasing they did, and they said we should go home. The only cash I had in my pocket was 200 naira. And as at the time, I think from Ohafia to Aba, I think was about 800 naira or so. So I needed like I needed extra 1,000 to be able to go home. So I met Chibuzo. So Chibuzo, I think Chibuzo had 800, and me I had 200, so that was making it 1,000. So when I use my own 200 to enter Okada to Ebe. So we did not now have cash now. So Pascal and Chichi promised us that they told us they wanted to go to Bet Naija shop. That if they want money, they will give us some we use to complete our own money. So me and Puzo with his remaining 800, we were planning we were going to do it half. So if we take 400, if we take 400 to Umaya, he's going to lap me. We take 400 to Umaya, I take the remaining 400 back to Aba. We both lap each other. We left school in the morning. We went to a Bet Naija shop. I think close back area. We went to a Bet Naija shop, and these guys started placing bets. It was virtual. They were playing. They were placing bets. They were winning. They were losing. They were winning. They were losing. They were winning. That was a particular win. I don't know whether it was Chichi or it was Pascal who got that win. And we felt like, okay, this was it. We're not going to go home, but just like gambling is, you want more. They went back. So I think me and Chibuzo just got the realization that these guys were already soaked in this thing. If we didn't find our way now, only God knows what will be our fate if not for us. So we left both of them at the betting shop and we went to the park. Only for us to get to the park, we're now trying to make inquiries of. So we now went to go and meet the driver that was loading. That this was what happened, that we don't have full money, that we want to lap. The man now said, okay, he was going to carry us. So instead of Omar here now cutting the journey short, the man said he was going to Aba. We were going to lap, and we got into the car. So I felt like the man had plans to go back to Aba that day. So that was why he insisted he allowed us to sort of stay. So we lapped, and there was no much passengers, and our night was coming, so the man was here. So we left for Aba. We lapped. So while we were going, we'll see some people who enter. They will stop at a certain place. So, but at the end of the day, we got to Aba, and we didn't lap throughout the journey. We had comfort. So that was the first hurdle. Miracle happened. God did it for us going Aba. Now we got to Aba. We stopped at the park. Me, I'm headed to Obo Hill. Chibuzo is headed to his place. I don't know that his place was close to the park, but we parted ways. And for me, that was when I knew the impact of not having cash in your hand. There was no place to call anybody. There was no cash in my hand. And to move from park to Obo Hill, it was crazy. I first checked to my uncle's office. I checked from park to his office at Ngwa Road. He has already closed. I asked the guys downstairs at the store where I used to buy something anytime I came to his office. They said they didn't have his number. Serious. I had to check Ngwa Road down to Waterside. And I think I just sold fear that night because I was not scared of anything. My mind was, let me get home. And I checked from Ngwa Road to Waterside. I passed there. That place was so dark. I had to go through that place. With my leg where I checked, I went to Waterside. So there's this road where if you continue to Obo Hill. There's another road where you continue to 7 Up. So that was where, this situation, you see your life flash in your eye. That was where I didn't know what to do. So there were just different ideas coming into my head. I had this idea that I was going to jump on a moving truck, headed to Seven Up because I was Seven Up factory close to the place. I was going to jump on the truck. Then if I get onto the truck, then when the truck is getting closer to the bus stop, I will jump off and continue my journey. But another thought in my head is like, if this thing drives straight into the factory, you are finished though. I saw police people, whether to go and ask them for money, but at the same time, I knew how Nigerian police is. I've seen things in movies. They no longer rope me one thing, so I didn't sort of approach the police people. I just stayed where I was. Then later, I crossed over the road, and that was the period where there was like what like a section a big policy that kekes will stop immediately 7 o'clock. So every keke you saw was in a haste to go home. So I went towards that police checkpoint. So the keke they stop. I just rushed to it, and there was a lady who was there. She was a passenger. I greeted her. I told her, "Ma, I'm just coming back from school. I don't have any transport. I'm headed to this thing. I'm headed to 7 Up." And I was on my screen uniform. She said I should enter. The front seat was vacant. The woman said I should enter. I felt relief. I felt relief that moment. And I got home. That was when I knew that good Samaritans, they still did this world though. That was how I got to 7 Up, and I went home. I came in pretty late, and everybody was like, "Why are you coming in by this time?" Nobody knew how my day went. I just went to go and sleep. So that is pretty much my Roma story. So for Jared, I would say Afrobeat still played a key part to all our experiences in school. We had social nights, played music. As of the time when I dropped, because we had seniors who that time had MP3 players. MP3 players was a thing. It's not like you have them like Bluetooth enabled. That time you put card reader or memory card inside, so you already compiled your playlist. So we'll be playing songs in the hostel. So if you had like all those seniors with their MP3 players, we were playing a lot of Afrobeats. The week I came out, we were playing it in my hostel. We were up to trend. Fino, Davido, Runtown. There were a lot of artists we listened to. Even Quincy, when Quincy's hit was hot, then we listened to Quincy. Then there was inter sports period where you get to like experience music. And there were nights where we just had this kind of everybody would just be singing. There would be drums, and stuff like that. So I would say pretty much Afrobeat was part of my secondary school. I enjoyed the music. So that's pretty much my Jared story. So the last track on my list is Grace. So I would say for Grace, I would say I just want to appreciate, everybody that was good to me in secondary school, people that had my back, I want to thank all the teachers for, being the best version of themselves, I would say another time, what will later lay the foundation for me being a tech enthusiast will be our computer teachers. So there was this web design program. One of our teachers hosted. So in that program, you were taught to use like HTML and CSS to create like websites. We're using Dreamweaver as of the time. I'm sure it was Green Icon. Is it Dreamweaver? I hope it's Dreamweaver. So I would say that pretty much shaped the experience for me to sort of like tech and want to do it more. I later went for an advanced class when I left secondary school. While I was looking for things to get my hand on as I graduated. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my dad, for saying I should leave where I was to where I came to. So because without Ohafia, I won't know. I don't know where I will see myself if it's not Ohafia. So I'll say I want to thank her, but I want to thank my mom, for always showing up for me on my visiting days. My superhero. She knows what I like to eat, so she prepared and she will travel far away from where we're staying as of the time to come for my visiting days. So for the days they didn't make it, they sort of compensated me for that. So I want to say thank you to my guardians too. And it's a wrap for the Made in project for Made in Ohafia. So next up is Made in Lagos. Peace.